As the vaccine rollout continues, there's concern over where we are in the race against time as a nudge up in cases raises the possibility of a fourth wave of COVID. So let's dive a little bit deeper into this with Dr. Andre Campbell. He's a professor of surgery at UCSF and a trauma surgeon at the Zuckerberg San Francisco General Hospital. Dr. Campbell, you and I are both in California, where the case count has been quite suppressed at the beginning of this spring, but there's concern that maybe something from the East Coast could come back over here. There's these new variants. So what really is the risk nationally of a fourth wave at this point?
Well, thank you for having me today. It's great to be here with you. So the first thing is that we had a big wave after the Christmas holidays. And what happened was now we're actually fairly suppressed in California. But there is actually growing concern that actually a couple of days ago, the Stanford lab just found a double variant, which is very similar to the Indian variant that is fueling the 100,000 cases that they have in India. So we're worried about the South African variant, the English variant, the Brazilian variant, the B117, which is a thing that we're all worried about fueling the new rise. So there are rising cases in New York, New Jersey, Michigan. There's actually, I think, cases are on the rise in Florida after all the spring break activity. So we're really worried about that. So the message is light is at the end of the tunnel, but we have to be vigilant right now, especially right now, because in the last 3 days, 6 million people traveled. A year ago, that was 500,000. So as we begin to mix and open up, we can't open up too fast. And we're very worried that this new variant will fuel things because the new cases are in people 30 and younger. That's what's happening in Michigan. Young people, which is a group that was not as affected, although it was affected, not as much as older people, are being affected with this new variant.
So then, doctor, do you imagine that with older folks getting vaccinated with these new variants, which increase the likelihood of being hospitalized, having more severe complications from this disease, that we're going to see a lot of essentially 20 and 30-year-olds in the hospitals, perhaps even facing death over the next couple of months? Is that what you're saying here? Because I think a lot of young people at home might be really concerned and worried if they heard that news.
So first of all, the new surge, which we hope to stop, first of all, by doing the same thing, social distancing, masking, and washing your hands. We can stop it, right, has more people who are under 40 and under. So that it is something that we need to be concerned about because young people now are being affected big time by this new wave. That's what's happening in Michigan, so that we want to make sure they get vaccinated. So we're in a race with the vaccine. Right now, we're vaccinating 4 million people a day, right, which is great, right? And if we could get to the point where we can vaccinate our way out of this, we will beat the variants, right? It's a real race. 4 million a day, 120 million a month, right? By May, June, things will look better if we continue to be vigilant. So that's really the message, is that two-pronged lights at the end of the tunnel, but we have to be careful because younger people now are being affected by this. The vaccine keeps you from dying, keeps them going to the ICU, right? That's what you need to do. Get vaccinated. If you get a chance, there are 3 of them ready that are available right now. The Pfizer, which is what I took. The second one, it was the Moderna, and the third one is the one shot and done, is the Johnson & Johnson. Get vaccinated whenever you can.
And quickly, it seems like there's a CDC messaging that has rubbed some people the wrong way. They've been kind of the CDC's been saying things like, we're scared about the possibility of that fourth wave, that there could be some dire situation around the corner despite the vaccine rollout. What do you think is the proper communication for the CDC to be saying at this time, where on one hand, yeah, people are getting vaccinated, but yes, these variants do present their own downside risk?
So last week, you probably saw Dr. Rochelle Walensky, the head of the CDC. She got quite emotional and talking about almost a doomsday scenario. So the quick message is that I think that we have some good information. We have a safe vaccine. Let's push that. But we must maintain vigilance, because if we don't, we'll go right back to how we were after Christmas. I mean, right now, in San Francisco, we only have 7 people in the hospital from COVID. My hospital, we had 70 people with COVID just a month ago, and we had 10 or 11 in the ICU, or 12. So that's all gone now, right? And that's because of vigilance, and because of that, we were able to suppress the virus. If you suppress the virus, we will get through this. If we continue to jump start things too early, like when I saw all what was going on in Miami Beach, last month, I was mortified. I mean, all those thousands of young people out there partying without masks. I was mortified. So we can't do that, right? If we do that, we'll get into trouble, right? If we can maintain cautious behavior, we can do it. We are in control of what can happen, and we can make this thing go away if we work together.